Welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and I'm in the state of Florida at Everglades National Park. It is a park that is about 40 miles southwest of Miami, Florida, and it was established back in December of 1947 to preserve this area. It's 1.5 million acres. Today at Everglades National Park, we will go on a few short hikes. We're gonna visit like 3 or 4 of the visitor centers, and because there's 5 in this park, and there are 4 entrances to the park. So we're going to take an airboat ride today out into the Everglades, see if we can see an alligator, crocodile, because this is the only place in the world that alligators and crocodiles both coexist. So we're going to maybe see some different types of waterfowl that make this park their home. I'm here at the Ernest Coe Visitor Center at Everglades National Park, and it's pretty cool because you can walk outside and onto the decking, and there's this big pond here that has fish and alligators and all kinds of different wildlife around it. But I wanted to just do an introduction to this unique park. So this is the view here. So this particular park, Everglades, was established back in 1947 in December by President Harry S. Truman at the time, and he stated in his address when he made this a national park under his administration, here are no lofty peaks seeking the sky, no mighty glaciers or rushing streams wearing away at the uplifted land, but here is land tranquil in its quiet beauty, serving not as the source of water, but as the last receiver of it. To its natural abundance we owe the spectacular plant and animal life that distinguishes this place from all others in our beautiful country. Many settlers came to South Florida. They viewed the Everglades as worthless land that could be transformed into farms and homes through the drainage of all of the water of this area. And so others fought to preserve this vast bird-filled wetland into its natural state. These early conservationists recognized the beauty and the complexity of the Everglades ecosystem, and they struggled to alert the public of the threat of its existence and the elimination of it. As a result of their efforts, in 1947, the Everglades became the first national park to be established not for its scenic splendor, but for its biological value. So really pretty here. Lots of different plants and this nice little pond that has wildlife. The Anhinga Trail, which is only 0.8 of a mile. It goes along this slough, and so I'm going to walk this 0.8, take in the views. We already have some alligators that are right there along the bank, about 3 of them that are just basking in the sun. So this trail skirts along the edge of this freshwater slough, and it says that you'll probably likely encounter some wildlife, which I already have, and the encounters are not exactly random. During the dry season, the slough operates like one of many gator holes throughout the shallow river of grass. In these deeper pools, fish become concentrated, attracting alligators, wading birds, and a throng of other creatures. The drama is not just the largest egret or alligator, but the combination of creatures and conditions: the water level, the killfish, the pineapple trees, etc. So anhinga is an actual bird that expands its wings, and it's found along this trail, and it spreads its wings so it dries them out, and it looks like that, and hopefully we'll get to see one. We're at the entrance of the Anhinga Trail, and not even here 30 seconds, and we have some American alligators that are basking in the sun, taking in some heat. We have another one coming across the water there. Let's take a look at him. Looks like he has some foliage on his back. That's interesting. Coming in, just drifting right in here, and as you can see, they're pretty calm. People are pretty close to the wall. Doesn't take much for them to actually move, but they're not interested in moving right now because of the fact that they are basking in the sun and just taking in that heat of the day. It's in the low 60s here, and it'll warm up a little bit for them. And he's starting to move a little bit. But this is the American alligator here at Everglades National Park. Unlike the crocodile is a brownish tan color and a little bit larger. The alligator is a grayish color. The lifespan of an alligator is 35 to 50 years, whereas a crocodile is 50 to 75 years. So lifespan's a lot longer. Alligators are a little less aggressive than the crocodile. And this is the only place in the world where both the alligator and the crocodile coexist. This is freshwater, and so we probably won't see any crocodile today because they like the brackish water with the salt water. And the reason why is the alligator cannot process the salt water out of their system, whereas a crocodile can. So this is fresh water, and this is their habitat. He's drifting on in there. He's gonna say hi to his buddies. Let's see how this works out. I have a feeling there's going to be some movement because they don't like to be bothered by another alligator, but they may share this bank with him. Let's see what happens. He's slowly going to move up. They can sense the movement of other alligators and their prey. This guy, it's kind of a dominance thing. When they're larger, they kind of rule the terrain. And this guy actually seems a little bit larger than the rest of them, so I think they're just going to allow him to coexist with them. Moving along the Anhinga Trail here at near Royal Palms Visitor Center are the anhingas. So they flap their wings and they dry them out, and that's kind of what they do. But they're a larger bird. Oh, that one just flew off. And they kind of have an orange, or their eye is like a green color. I don't know if I can zoom in, but they like to dry their wings and flap them. And they're kind of a docile bird. Very peaceful, but they're right here along the trail. They're using this rail line here as their... You notice that they also have webbed feet, similar to a duck, and that's to propel them through the water nice and swiftly. So that one is just flapping his wings there and airing them out. It's kind of what they do. You just have to keep... So this is a great heron right here, which Jeff and I have seen several of those in our bag, but this might be a different variety. Right here along the Anhinga Trail, and he's got his mouth open. He's just, maybe he had just had a fish, but there's lots of different types of fish. And then there's some egrets right there. You can see him white in the sawgrass here. The one thing along the Anhinga Trail is you gotta watch. So you can see all these buzzards flying. They do damage to people's cars. So they do have tarps available that people have left behind that you can tarp off your car, because they will damage, try and pull the windshield wiper and peck at it. It's kind of like their favorite pastime, so you do have to watch. Be very careful, but yeah, there's that guy. These guys. Oh, and we have an alligator and some of the egrets. A big guy. Anhinga Trail at Everglades National Park is a lot of sawgrass. This sawgrass, it grows really good in a wet, marshy environment. So this is a large concentration. And above me I have a bunch of buzzard and egrets. Lots of buzzards there. They're looking for something. And this is a really cool trail. If you don't do any other trail in Everglades National Park, you should do the Anhinga Trail. You'll see wildlife for sure, and you'll get to see birds as well as all of these native plants, and it's a loop trail that goes around on this boardwalk, so it's pretty cool. be getting close to his mate. He's telling us to back off. As you walk along the Anhinga Trail, you hear all these growling sounds. It reminds me of the Jurassic Park movie where it makes your hair raise on the back of your neck. You can hear them off in the distance, and it's all those growling sounds that the alligators make. It's a little creepy, but we're kind of protected a little bit by the rails on these fence on this boardwalk. But this may be mating season for them, so they're warning folks to stay back away from their mate. Trail, and it's through a very dense forest it's a trail that tunnels through the tropical hardwood hammock, a world dramatically different than the wide open slough that we just experienced at Anhinga. And in the shadowy tangle of vegetation, the plants at first appear all alike and the wildlife non-existent, but the hammock contains a surprising variety of species that take unfamiliar forms. In the intense competition for light to come through the canopy here, the vegetation grows in layers. A botanist exploring this hammock in 1893 was so in awe of the profusion of bromads and royal palms and orchids that he suggested the area be a federal park in itself. His journey here from Miami took 3 days, so he took all that in. So we're going to take this little trail. It's only 0.4 and it's paved along here, so it's pretty interesting. It's dense vegetation, and this is the Paradise Key hammock. So it's all hardwoods and it's just really dense. So it's pretty cool trail right off of the Royal Palm Visitor Center, where a ranger is currently leading a guided hike through the Anhinga Trail, which we just did. So this is pretty cool. Nice and cool breeze coming through here, and it's in the mid 60s. Had to switch out into my shorts, and so I get this nice little hike through here. Pretty cool. I like it. It's a lot of different varieties of different vegetation, and some of these trees are huge. They love this type of canopy flourish in this. Look at this guy. This is really cool. On the Gumbo Limbo Trail, through this tropical vegetation and shaded canopy of a trail, 0.4. No mosquitoes. I was really surprised. I'm like, I'm gonna need bug spray, and it's hard to transport that stuff on the airlines because they want to confiscate everything if it's too large in size. So I wanted to kind of show you this water. A lot of these pools of water are in amongst the trail here. No bugs. I was surprised. This is January. You would think there'd be all kinds of bugs, and it just would be miserable. But this is a good time of year to come to the Everglades. You can catch. So there's birds back in here. There's little sloughs in here. You do have to watch because some alligators come back in here in the shade, but most of the time they like to be in the sun. But this is just right off the trail, and there's bedrock that is inlaid here, and that's the reason why it's holding the water. But this is a nice little trail, very tropical, lots of ferns, lots of different types of trees and mangrove, very dense and very cool. It's nice and shaded, so heated today. Keep this one for as it gets warmer because it's nice and shaded and it's very refreshing little walk through. Oh, look at this big tree. This one's a really large tree. Let's see what this is. It's orchids. There's orchids that grow on this tree. And then you go with the air plants. So these have already done their due, but you can kind of see, I'll zoom in on it. But you can see these little guys growing on the side of the tree. It's really cool to be able to be in this environment. And nobody's on this trail. It's just me. I haven't seen another person. They're all on the other trail with the wildlife. But nice big tree that sustains its own life forms on there. And then there's the cypress with little knees that come up, similar to what we saw at Congaree in South Carolina, because this is a vast wetland, and so they have to adapt to the environment. That's a strangler fig. That's amazing. Look at that. The pa-hay-okee trail, and it's only 0.2, and it has a bird's eye view of the river grass, and that's what in Seminole Indian language pa-hay-okee means grassy waters. So we're just going to take this little trail through here and check it out. Pa-hay-okee Trail, and it starts off from the parking lot and it goes on this boardwalk out into the grasslands. So it's a raised boardwalk. These trees grow in this wetland environment, no problem. It's what they like, it's what they've adapted to. These are the bald cypress. They're not dead. They look dead. All of this looks dead, but these conifers lose their needle-like leaves in winter to cope with the seasonal drought and not freezing. Acid from their decaying leaves erodes limestone, improving these trees' habitat by deepening the water they grow in. So, driven by rain, Earth's surface is 70% water. So we should call the planet water, but these are the grassy waters and out into the reaches there of Everglades National Park. And it's a sunny day, 75 degrees and sunny. So it looks dry, and the Shark River Slough slowly flows gulfward, so to the south, 8 miles wide here, but shallow, like a sheet of water. It's slowly seasonal current shapes the tree islands. Higher, drier spots called hammocks are like tadpoles. These forested hammocks and baylands seem to swim upstream, tails towards the sea. Off into the vast, you can see some egrets out there and some different wild birds enjoying their habitat. It's a different type of wilderness. It's very unique. On the pa-hay-okee trail here, which is just point 2, you can see fish in the waters. It's all fresh water. You can see that guy right there. The water's super clear. It's all fresh water that's come out of Lake Okeechobee, that's north of here, in the northern part of the state, and it drifts down here. A lot of people think this is a vast swampland, wetlands, but it's actually a river. It's just a really wide river that's extremely shallow. Pretty cool just to kind of take in this environment. It's so different than all of the other national parks that I've been to, because this is like only about, I think, 6 feet above sea level. So all of this increases in water. They get about 60 inches of rain a year. Shark Valley Visitor Center, the ranger is giving a talk about the differences between the alligators and the different type of wildlife that you can find here at Everglades National Park. Here on the Bobcat Boardwalk Trail that's at the Shark Valley Visitor Center. It's just a short point 2, so I'm going to do that before I take the tram ride. That's 15 miles long, very educational. So this is the boardwalk, and I already saw an alligator as you come in, and pure and clean water. It's another raised boardwalk trail that meanders through the north section of the Everglades National Park. So this is heavily forested in some areas, but then it's the wetlands in others. So gonna just check this out prior to my tram ride that's at 2 o'clock, and you have to get tickets ahead of time. It's very, very busy. It took me like 25 minutes just to get through the entrance to the national park on this side. So very busy side off of Highway 41. So this is the Bobcat Boardwalk Trail.
Green.
No. So you may realize now that you have been lied to all your life. Because just about every cartoon alligator you have ever seen was green. From the Florida Gators logo, to the gator with the ticking clock in its belly in Peter Pan, to Leatherhead, the gator villain in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to the alligator character in the Pogo comic strip, to the alligator character in Hanna-Barbera cartoons. All of those characters are green. Real alligators are not green at all. Cows, but that's kind of tricky to tell until like Captain Ricky and I, you've seen thousands of gators. You kind of start to develop an eye for these things. Possibly so, sir. We had a question about Burmese pythons. We may talk more about pythons on the second half of the trip. All right, Captain Ricky says definitely there would be pythons out there. Yeah, there are lots of pythons in Shark Valley. I strongly suspect we pass by Burmese pythons on every single tour.
They only get to be about 14 at the most.
We don't see them because their camouflage is exquisite with their earthy colors and their giraffe-like pattern. They crawl into the brush and vanish for all intents and purposes. Yes.
He's going in the water.
We also have a little blue heron out there. Well, after you can see my closer up soon. A gator fleeing from us, showing.
Along the observation tower trail here at Everglades National Park. It's a replica of the same observation tower that is located at Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee and North Carolina. So this one was built by the Conservation Corps at the same time to give some elevation to this park so that you could see out across the vast sawgrass lands here at Everglades National Park. Pretty cool. So unlike the other national parks in the system, we have mountains that you can look out over. This particular national park, this is the highest point and is the observation deck. You can see out, from this point, you can see out 20 miles into the Everglades at a 360-degree view. Pretty cool. You see the water is very clear. And you can see a long distance, you can see all of the clumps of hardwood that make an elevation, like he was explaining about on the tram ride. So it's not just all flat there and just not all sawgrass. It's also clumps of clusters of trees, as well as habitat for the alligators and the birds, as well as the other species that make this place their home.
Lower teeth, whereas when an alligator's mouth is closed, you see only their upper teeth. Yes, we had a question about keeping track of gators. We certainly cannot keep track. We certainly don't keep track of every single gator.
common throughout the middle of our rainy season, but just this time of the year, being that it's all rainwater, of course, it should be quite a bit shallow. It should be like 8 to 10 inches in depth.
8 to 10 inches. So
Should be.
not even a foot deep.
I'm sorry?
Not even a foot deep, and we just
Nope.
glide across it.
And actually, I mean, as long as there's no obstructions, pretty much all we need to run these things in is what the boat drafts, which is right about 4 to 6 inches or so.
4 to 6 inches of water. That's pretty cool.
How heavy we're loaded down.
Yeah. I'm with Roger from Gator Park Airboat Tours, and we are just sitting out here enjoying the sunset across the water, and there's hardly any wind, anything stirring, just an occasional bird, and just real shallow water. It's just a beautiful setting. If you come to the Everglades National Park and you want to take one, there's all kinds of airboat tours that offer airboat rides into the Everglades. This place is awesome. It's called Gator Park, and when I stopped at the visitor center over at the Ernest Coe Visitor Center in the park, I said, who do you recommend? And they said there's three of these operators, and I had already looked at this one, and they are the best. I just so happened to get Roger and as a boat operator, and it was just him and I, and it was the best experience that I have had at a park, especially in a boat or a ferry or anything like that. There, I'm at Pineland Trail, and it is 0.4 of a mile, and so I'm going to go through that. It's a pineland forest of pine trees that is uplifted in the middle of the Everglades here, and I'm going to check out and see what this is all about. The Pineland Trail, this trail loops through one of the most varied habitats in the park. The surrounding sawgrass is a single habitat. This pine island is many. Here the plants are clues to contrasting worlds, from cactus on the high ground to the jungle tangle at the edge of the hammock. Pineland habitats have no fixed borders, and fires and hurricanes shift them, enable these temperate islands to survive in a damp subtropical environment. Hiking in the Pinelands Trail, 0.4, a lot of pine trees, but they're small, but they tower up pretty high. They just have thin little trunks. It's the type of terrain they're in that minimizes their growth. A lot of fan palms and subtropical type foliage low-lying. the Mahogany Hammock Trail, and it's only 0.4. There's only short hikes in this park, and I am going to do this little hike, and it's pretty interesting because mahogany wood and trees were abundant in this area, and then the settlers came in and they pretty much clear cut all of that mahogany so that they could build furniture and different things that was so valuable. And this particular trail is interesting because it's a boardwalk that bridges across the Sawgrass River and enters a lush tree island, the tropical hammock. And hidden from historic logging activities, old growth mahogany trees have grown to a record size on the hammock's higher, drier grounds. And the boardwalk's back section rises through a hammock from dense undergrowth up toward the tree canopy where owls and plants can thrive. So we're going to take a little hike on this. I understand that this country, the United States, largest or oldest tree, I'm sure it's going to be a little plaque that talks about it, is going to be on this trail. So taking a hike into this dense forested mahogany hammock trail. It's all boardwalk that has these different types of palms, which is the sabal palms. But this is extremely dense, and it's all elevated so that you can navigate this when it's water has seeped up into this area. So it's very, very nice of a trail that the Park Service has put together for us to enjoy. This mahogany tree is extremely impressive on the Mahogany Hammock Trail. It's right here off to the left-hand side of the boardwalk. And look how wide it is. I mean, this thing is as wide as some of the smaller redwood trees. But it's huge, and look at those fern things that are growing inside on the surface of the tree. So it's created its own environment. So this talks about it, the mahogany tree, and it's very impressive. The trees of such great stature have many irreplaceable roles in the forest community. They support an abundance of plants and animals and act as windbreaks and help prevent soil erosion. However, the importance of older growth trees, such as this one, is often overlooked, as in the case of mahogany trees, which are extensively logged in tropical regions throughout the world for their high quality wood. So this guy somehow survived and is thriving. It almost looks dead, but it's living real good here in the Everglades National Park. Kind of winds around. Look at some of these different trees, palms. Little jungle of a trail that showcases the mahogany tree and the value of it, and that there's only a few left. And the oldest living, or the tallest one in the United States, is on this trail here at the national park. So I'm thankful that they kept it for us and found it and made this an interesting and educational trail for us all to enjoy. I wanted to point out this cut log and how bright red the log is of this mahogany tree. So they had cut this one back. It was probably overhanging the trail boardwalk. But that's a bright red, beautiful wood. Mahogany tree overhanging the boardwalk. Coastal Prairie Hiking Trail, which is the very farthest point, the tippy tip bottom south part of Florida that you can get. And I'm gonna go catch a sunset here, but this is a 6-mile trail and it goes way back in here and it goes all the way to this beach, all the way out there. So I won't make it that far, but I'm gonna make it along the coastal prairie here and check out the sunset. This is just right at the back of the Flamingo campground. Okay, the good news is that I made it to the bottom. The bad news is it's kind of mangrove. Let me flip this around. Mangrove, and these guys stick into this thick mud. Well, the only way in is that. And so I got that on my shoes. The only shoes I have. And so, but that's the sunset I was trying to get. And so, interesting, and it's very slick and very slippery and not very conducive for viewing, but that's the pictures that I got. I think I'm gonna go back out and try. You can see some keys out there. I think I'm gonna go back out and try the Prairie Coastal Loop and see if I can get some better pictures of the sunset. Made it back out to the main trail after I got my shoes all icky and bitten by mosquitoes. That was not fun. I'm back on this trail. Hopefully it'll take me over to the ocean, to where the Everglades dump out into the bottom of the Gulf and at the very tippy tip. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's right at sunset and it's not muddy yet, but if it gets muddier, I'm gonna probably have to abandon ship. But we're gonna try it. We'll see. Hopefully I do not run into any cobras. Not cobra, excuse me, the python, the Burmese python, or the Florida panther, which there's not very many of them left. But I definitely don't want to run into him. Or the crocodile, wanting a meal. So it's just me out here. There was a couple that came in behind me, so maybe they're trying to make it out to the ocean as well. So we'll see. Living on the edge. That's what I do. Live on the edge a little bit. This is my turnaround point. I think it's not very safe to try and make it any further. It is a 6 mile all the way out to the end. I don't think I can make it before sunset. It's already setting and it's getting a little too late for me. So Jeff's voice is in my ear right now saying, turn around and go back before it gets too dark and it's not safe out here in the Everglades with crocodile and alligator and the Burmese python. It's probably not a good idea by myself, so I'm turning around, but it is a beautiful spot. Those are all keys out there. Let's spin it a little bit. Let's see. Look at all those keys, separate keys. That hawk has just stayed right there. I think it's a hawk. Maybe it is an eagle or an osprey. But just stayed right there on that. That's its perch. That's a sunset. The end of the Everglades at the southernmost point. This tree's kind of cool with all the spindliness. So I drove back to a safer spot over by the campground, and this is the sunset. So I did get my sunset after all, but I had to book it back and I was getting a little scared. But this is just beautiful. This is at the Flamingo campground in the tent area. So it's really pretty sunset. I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy it. Whatever you're doing today, get out and enjoy the great outdoors. This has been a great visit for me.